Okay. I can see two persons already on the call. Okay, if you can hear me, kindly indicate in the chat box that you can hear me. Then let's get right into the session. All right, awesome. So in today's session, I have something very important we're going to be looking at. Okay, I can see Marvel. I can see Marvel. Let's have like few more minutes for more persons to join the call. Okay, awesome. So just quickly share the live link so that more persons can join and we'll get started right away. Welcome, Marvel. Welcome to everyone already here. So in today's session, we're going to be talking about the top 10 digital skills that pay most in 2025. So for those who attended last week's session, you would agree with me that it was pretty amazing. So, and it was the first session in this whole entire playlist. So, in the previous session, um, we talked about how the kind of mindset you should have if you want to get started working remotely. And I believe a couple of us figured out if remote job is actually something that we are interested in. And a lot of people, I got a lot of messages from the previous session and also some comments about people who were able to figure out if they really want to work remotely or not and the kind of mindset they should have if they're interested in working remotely. But in today's session, we're going to be having taking a look at top 10 digital skills you can learn, or you need to learn rather, in 2025. So now that you've understood the if you are interested in working remotely, so let's look at the skills you need to have if you want to get started working remotely and being paid pretty well for the work that you do. So let's get right into it. So, why is this important? As I always say, you need to really know exactly why something is important to you before going into it. So if you literally just go on Google now and search for skills that you can learn, online digital skills you can learn, you would see a lot of them. But the real question should be, why do you want to actually learn? For that break in transmission, I had some glitches, but I think it should be back up now. So confirm. Thank you for staying back on the call. All right. So let's go straight into what we're talking about, the top 10 digital skills that pay most in 2025. So, like I was saying before, you need to really know why you are learning these skills beyond just knowing exactly the digital skills you should be learning. You need to know why you should be learning these skills. So it is very, very, very important to understand why. And I get a lot of questions from people that want to get started with digital skills most times. And the only question they just ask me is, okay, which skill should I learn now? Which of them pays the most? So the first thing I would like to tell you right now is, in terms of pay shouldn't be the only thing you should be looking at in terms of the skills you want to learn. Okay, so pay is very important. I know everybody wants to learn something that would pay them very well, so that's there's no crime in that. But Pay is not the only thing you should be concerned about. I'm going to share why pretty soon. So, you don't just want to be that person who is concerned about, oh, how much am I going to get paid? Should I learn this skill or should I not learn this skill because of how much I am being paid? In as much as pay is important, one of the things you need to look out for. Can you let me know in the chat box if you are following me? Let me know in the chat if you are following me. I can see Marvel, I can see Elizabeth. Just type in the chat box if you are following me. Then we'll continue. Here. So I was saying that research has proven by World Economic Forum that by 2027, 42% of tasks will be automated by 2027. So, why this is important for you is that you need to be up to date so that you don't get to 2027 or sometime in the future and you figure out that a lot of things that you know now are no longer relevant. Okay? So, if you are ready for this session and you have your jotters, you have your book with you, I want you to type in the chat box that you are ready and share this link to somebody. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel, but share this link to a friend that is supposed to be here and is not here yet. So let's get right into it. So, number one digital skill. Now that you've understood why you should be learning these skills. Like I explained, it's beyond just the money. You have to get to a point where you are really, really interested in learning these skills. It's beyond just passion. Not everybody has passion for things, but I love to put it this way: interest is better than passion. So, what you should have, first of all, is interest more than being passionate about something because over time, passion dies, the passion goes down. But when you have interest for something over time, you begin to build upon that interest that you have. So, yeah, top 10 digital skills to learn and what it's I'm going to be breaking each of these skills down for you to understand how it works and to see if it's something you are really interested in. And I'll also be sharing resources on where you can get started to learning these skills. Like I said, the goal for this playlist, for this weekly sessions, is that by the end of the entire sessions, you should have all you need to be job ready in terms of remote jobs, in terms of skills, and also the strategies that you need to land your first job. So I want people to have testimonials. I want to get testimonies from people who applied everything that I taught and they were able to get the prerequisite knowledge to land their first remote job in 2025. Okay, so number one digital skill that I'm going to be talking about is, and this is in no particular order. If you feel that it's arranged in the order of importance, then I feel you can do more research about that. But number one digital skill I'm going to be talking about is a no-brainer. If you can guess what the skill is, just let me give you a few seconds to guess. If you can guess, type it in the chat box or in the comment section. If you can guess what this particular skill is, type it. Just type it in the comment section. Let me see how many persons would guess correctly. Anybody? If you can quickly guess the first skill I want to talk about, type it in the chat box, type it in the comment box. If I get two responses, I would continue. Drum roll. Okay? I'm waiting. Just guess. Just guess. Try to guess the skill I want to talk about. Okay. Someone said graphics design. Maybe, maybe not. Any other guess? Okay. I need a second person so that we can have a competition. One person cannot be in a competition with himself or herself. All right, awesome. So let me just somebody said content creation. Well, let's see. So number one digital skill, I need you to pay keen attention. And if you just joined, please stay till the end. If you're already on the call, ensure you stay to the end of this session because there are some things that are it's better you watch it live than to watch the replay after, even though the replay will be available on my channel. Somebody said artificial intelligence. Oh, drum roll, a round of applause for testimony. Actually got it correctly, but it's not just artificial intelligence now, but artificial intelligence and machine learning. Somebody should type that: artificial intelligence, popularly known as AI, and machine learning. Now, what is artificial intelligence? Now, I know when you hear AI, the first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind is ChatGPT, Claude AI, and the likes of them. I also have a video I made about AI on my channel. You can go to that playlist and watch some of the videos there. But when you hear AI, the first thing that should come to your mind should not be ChatGPT. The reason is because those models, like what we call ChatGPT, Claude AI, and the likes, they are what we call generative AI. So they are a particular kind of AI in under the category of chatbots, but that is not the whole concept of artificial intelligence. So a lot of us come across or engage in artificial intelligence every single day. For instance, the mobile phone you are using or the laptop you are using to watch this live session, YouTube itself utilizes AI. So, what is enabling me this video to be recommended to you if you are watching, if you are just seeing me for the first time? It's based on some certain programming, and AI is involved because, and when I'm done with this video, when I'm done with this particular video, YouTube automatically plays the video based on the settings, plays it online, and allows you to allows you to view this video later on. The video is recommended to more other persons based on some certain settings and um that I made on the back end. That is actually AI at work. Another popular instance would be um your Google Maps, something that you're very familiar with. For those of us that have used Uber before, you've used um you a ride hailing services where you are able to go on Google Map, put your location on the map, and the driver is able to identify your location. That is a simple example also of artificial intelligence at work. Another quick example would be I'm trying to use things that we are very, very familiar with. Quick example about AI at artificial intelligence at work in your day-to-day activities would be a lot of us use Google. Google utilizes AI to recommend adverts to you based on your watch preference. Let me also use another familiar social media platform that is very familiar with us, which is social TikTok. So for those of us that are familiar with TikTok, how many of you have been in that situation where it seems like TikTok is monitoring the kind of content you consume, or on the online space, you feel like Google is monitoring you, where it seems like you are thinking about something or you are researching about something, and all of a sudden you begin to see recommendations on that thing on the online space. If you have had that experience before, you can type yes in the chat box. So that is actually artificial intelligence at work, and it's in our day-to-day activities. But a lot of people feel that ChatGPT is the only artificial intelligence tool that is available. So ChatGPT is basically what we call generative AI. Under it's a category of artificial intelligence called chatbots. So what chatbots are basically softwares that utilize artificial intelligence and machine learning to give you your results. So that's why you can easily type on ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT a question, and it gives you answer, because it's a machine learning model that has been trained based on data. We're going to get to one of the skills that have to do with data. Yeah. So that is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it's basically creating intelligent systems that learn from data. So, and it's actually in high demand now. If you are able to um, program and build applications that utilize AI, or you're able to build machine learning models. It's in high demand in different phases. In the previous session, I made a statement that a lot of people say things like, I'm not a tech person and all that. But in the future, there's literally nothing like you are not a tech person, because in your day-to-day activities you come across technological tools every single day, and you cannot escape tech except you want to be obsolete and you want to get to a point where you are no longer relevant in terms of the skills that you have. That's why tech is very important. So if you are watching to this point and you're still getting value, please and please, I need you to like the video, subscribe if you're ready to subscribe, and make sure you share to someone out there. Okay, so that is for artificial intelligence. Now, for resources on how you can get started learning AI or how to build a program with AI, I will drop a link or drop some resources here that you can check out yourself. I just dropped that in the chat box. Like I said, it's going to be a very, very extensive session where for each of the skills, I'll be giving you resources for you to get started. For those of us that are probably interested in learning how AI works and how to learn to be an artificial intelligence, an AI programmer or a developer or someone who knows how to build machine learning models. So you can use that to get started. All right, moving further. Number two digital skill based on research and current trends. And yeah, one more thing before I move into the second digital skill. You also have to understand that the reason these skills are coming up now is not just because they are trending. So you're going to be seeing some skills that are not trending so much, but the projection is based on in the next 5 to 6 to 7 years, skills that will still be relevant. And that is something you really need to take note of because, like I said, you don't, the whole technology is very, very, is advancing every single day. So you want to be that person who is always on board with the current technological advancement. That is why in the previous session, I told us that continuous learning is key. If you want to be in tech, you have to learn continuously. So these skills are skills that in the next 5 years, they will still be very relevant. That is why it's 2025 is actually the best time you have to get started in learning these skills. For instance, I'm a cloud engineer, and cloud computing is actually one of the skills we're going to be talking about, right? So it's important for you to have the skills because in the next 5, 6 years, you would still be relevant and you will be sought after if you have the skills to your arsenal. So yeah, number two skill I'm gonna be talking about is what is tied to the data science and analytics. Now, a lot of us might have come across people who says I'm a data scientist, I'm a data analyst. So what is basically data science and data analytics is in definition, it's extracting insights from data for decision making. So a popular instance would be, let me use our social media channels that we are familiar with: YouTube, TikTok, um, Facebook, Instagram, and the likes. Now, each of those social media channels have what we call analytics. Analytics is basically interpretation of data. So, for instance, how you can tell that a post went viral is based on analytics in terms of impression, in terms of views, in terms of engagement. And if you're someone who uses social media very well for content creation or for business purposes, you will be able to determine how a post does based on the post analytics. So analytics are basically information from data. And what is data? Activity. Data is basically activity, general activity on the online space. So back to machine learning. Machine learning models like ChatGPT, Claude AI, and Grok, and all of them, they are models that are built on data. So a lot of times, data scientists and data analysts work together with AI developers and machine learning programmers in order to build those models. The reason is because here is a simple process of how ChatGPT works. So if you want to build a model like ChatGPT, the first thing you have to have at hand is data. So data across various industries, various niches. The reason why it seems like ChatGPT knows a lot is because it's a machine learning model. It's called machine learning because it learns over time based on data. So if you tell ChatGPT today that if you give ChatGPT an information and tell it to interpret that information. For instance, you tell ChatGPT, I am John and I'm 24 years old and I am a web developer and all that. So ChatGPT is learning from that data. And what ChatGPT does is that it takes that information, compares it with existing data it already has, because during the training or the building of the model, over time, the ChatGPT was built on thousands and thousands of data. That's why it seems like it knows a lot, or it has a lot of information, it's not because someone just sat and started giving it information. It's because while the model was being built, this information in form of data was used to build the model, and it keeps learning. That's why you have different versions being released every single day, every single from time to time, because they are trying to update the data set in order to make the model more robust. So for data scientists and data analysts. So what they do is that they analyze data, they get data, clean up the data, put the data in such a way that anybody can understand what is happening. So a lot of companies these days are in search of data scientists and data analytics. The reason is because if they are able to analyze current company data, you can take more business growth driven decisions. So if a company was to expand, probably in this particular year, they spent about $1 million on their marketing ads. So, what a data analyst will do is that the data analyst will take the data that they got from running those ads and figure out why the ad did not perform well or why the ad performed well, so that in the next year they can optimize the amount of money they spend running those ads. So in the long run, a data analyst is basically saving money for a company, for a business, because if they can analyze why something did not perform well, they can figure out ways to make it perform well the next time they run the ad. So very, very simple. A data analyst or a data scientist extract insight from data for decisions. And it's essential, like I said, for data driven business strategies. So, one way you can learn if you want to get started with data analytics and data science is, I will drop it in the chat box now. I have some books, and I also have some websites. You can get started with courses for free. I just dropped that in the chat box. Please and please, if you're getting value from this session so far, let me know in the comment section. Type value, value, value. And also do well to like the video, subscribe if you're ready to subscribe to the channel, and also share to someone out there. So let's continue. The third skill we're going to be talking about is my personal favorite and my niche, my skill, which is cloud computing. So, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is delivering computing services over the internet in terms of definition. Now, let's really understand practical, because I really want us to see these skills from a real life perspective, so that you will not be confused when someone tells you this is my skill and this is what I do. You want to be in that space where you can have conversations with people who have the skills. So, what is cloud computing? What is cloud engineering? Let me use your popular application to explain this, which is what we call Netflix. Now, the reason you are able to watch movies on Netflix, you are able to just go on Netflix, pick a random movie on Netflix, play it, and you have access to the movie, is due to what we call compute services, which is the entire platform. Netflix is powered by AWS. AWS is Amazon Web Services, is a computing platform, and what enables you to receive the movie anywhere you are in the world, click on the movie and watch the movie, is cloud services. So on the back end, on the technical side of things, there's something called containers and all. I don't want to go into the technicalities, but cloud services are basically cloud computing platforms, are platforms like AWS, Amazon Web Services, Azure for Microsoft, that's Microsoft Azure, the three major players, then Google cloud platform, which is GCP by Google. So each of these guys have applications or websites that are run on the cloud. So they are basically, you are able to receive your applications, your website, anywhere you are in the world, and applications are able to scale. What does scalability means? For instance, Netflix has billions of users, and almost every day or almost every week, new users are coming on the platform. So why the platform has not crashed is because there are cloud services that are enabling um users to get on the platform, get access to those services, those movies that you watch without crashing. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Same thing with your Facebook, your Instagram, and the likes. They use cloud services to get content to you where you are in the comforts of your bedroom. That's why you can easily pick up your phone and you're scrolling on Instagram and everything is working fine. But on the back end side of things, um, cloud services are run on that end. If you're just joining, welcome to the session. We're talking about top 10 digital skills you can learn in 2025. So you have not missed anything. Don't worry. Even if you have missed a bit, the session will be available while once we are done with this call. The replay will be available on my channel. So if you're watching the replay, also do it to follow and drop something in the comments anytime I ask you to drop something. You're welcome. So in number three, like I'm explaining, is what we call cloud computing, cloud engineering. So for those of us that who are interested in getting started with cloud computing as a skill, I will also drop resources for you to get started. So for those of us that are interested, all you need to do is, so most of these three cloud platforms, like I said, they have I just dropped them now: AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud platforms. So if you go to Microsoft Azure, you can have access to free trainings. The certification is paid, but the trainings are free. So you can have access to those trainings. All you need to have to get started is access to a gadget, a laptop, or even a smartphone. But in order to practice, you actually need a laptop or a desktop computer to practice this skill called cloud computing. So, if you want to make more research on that and see if you're interested in it, that is something you should check out. And like I mentioned, these skills are in high demand because we are in an era where there's a lot of demand for people who understand these skills and know how to bring value to the table. So a lot of companies are looking for data scientists, data analysts. A lot of companies are looking for AI guys. A lot of companies are looking for cloud engineering guys. If you go on LinkedIn and on the job session, on the job search category, try to search for cloud engineer roles, data science roles, AI roles. You see that there are so many of them, and a lot of hiring is going on in that aspect. So you want to position yourself as someone who is skilled in this area, so that you can be able to compete on a global perspective. So number four digital skill we're gonna be looking at is, drum roll again, cyber security. Now, for some of us, when we hear cybersecurity, the first thing that comes to our mind is hacking. While hacking is an aspect of cybersecurity, it is not the um, entire concept of cybersecurity. So, cybersecurity is basically protecting systems from cyber threats. So, if you want to prevent hacks, you want to um, ensure that systems are being secured. For instance, your Facebook account is not hacked, right? There are cybersecurity analysts in Meta, in Facebook, that are making it possible for you not to get hacked. Even though some of us still actually get hacked, but it's based on certain mistakes that we make and little knowledge about cybersecurity. For instance, if you're on this call and you're following me, please don't click on random links anyhow, because there's something called a phishing attack. What phishing attack basically is that people tend to get access to certain critical personal information based on you clicking on a particular link. No need to explain how the technical aspect works, but that's an example of a cyber security attack or a threat when it comes to cyber security. So, what cyber security guys do is that they ensure that threats are neutralized even before they are made. And if there are any threats that actually get through the system, they ensure that it doesn't cause damage to the system. So for cybersecurity guys, they are also high paid because they prevent cybercrime. And due to the rise of a lot of cybercrime these days, there is a high demand for people who understand cybersecurity and are professionals in that field. So, like I explained, and under cybersecurity, you have different roles under cybersecurity. You have the penetration testers, you have um, ethical hackers. Ethical hackers are people who basically hack a system just to prevent them from being hacked. So what that means is that there are people who are employed by a company to figure out loopholes in the systems, or where an attacker can get advantage of a particular software. Maybe let me use Instagram for instance. There are people that their role is to figure out ways they can hack the system. Now, why that is important is If they are able to figure out ways they can hack a system and they are working for the company, what it means is that they are able to protect that company against outsider attack. So people that are not working for the company but want to hack the system. So when they can figure out those loopholes and they can now provide security measures against those attacks in the future. So for those who are interested in cybersecurity, um, there are some certifications and some courses you can check out. I'll drop them now also. I just dropped them. Check out Cybrary, check out Sans Institute, then CompTIA Security Plus certifications. Now, and the way I structure this training is in such a way that each of these links I'm dropping, each of these um, platforms I'm resources I'm giving you are fundamental knowledge. So you can literally start now and get started learning in any of these skills I am sharing. So number four, number four digital skill, or rather number five digital skill is what we popularly know as software development or software engineering. So for software development, these basically designing and creating computer programs. So like a software like YouTube that is enabling you to be on this live session, there are developers who are responsible for maintaining and building YouTube. The reason you have new features released on your applications is that there are people that are responsible for releasing those new features. There are people who are actively day and night coding to ensure that you will get the best experience from your social media platforms. So if you are somebody who is interested in building applications, building software, you want to learn how to build a software like Instagram, you want to learn how to build a software like Netflix, you have to learn software development, and that requires you to learn programming languages. It can be one, it can be two, it can be as many as possible. But when starting out, it's important you need to have knowledge of at least one programming language to be a software developer. So, um, yeah, so software development is basically designing and creating computer programs, and they are the foundation actually for everything software on the internet. So a lot of people break it down into two categories where you have back end and front end development. So when you hear somebody say I'm a back end engineer, I'm a back end developer, what they basically do is that they build servers, they ensure back end systems of applications and softwares are maintained. And for front end developers, if you open up a website, for instance, the reason you are able to connect to a network and have the website open on your own end is because there are a lot of back end services and there are people responsible for that. Then what you see on the surface of the website, those designs, those if you click on a page and it takes you to the next page and all that, that what is responsible for that are the front end guys. So front end development has to do with the interface of the website, the interaction of the website, and all that. That is front end development. So if you are interested in software development, as usual, I will drop some um, resources. And like I said, a lot of these resources are free, except you want to get certifications. You can now pay for certifications. So software development is very, very broad. So it's important to figure out exactly what area you want to focus on because while starting out, you will waste a lot of time if you are trying to learn everything at the same time. Okay, so it's important for you to focus more the on one particular aspect. If it's back end or front end you are interested in, you have these resources. So again, if you are following me and you are gaining value, I need you to type in the chat box value, value, value. If you are still following me, just to ensure that a lot of you are following me and you've not left me on this call, just type value, 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 and do well to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're ready to subscribe, and also share to someone out there so they can have access to this valuable video. Now, the next digital skill I'm going to be sharing with us, which is in high demand and also pays very well, is what is titled project management. Now, it's a digital skill because a lot of companies and a lot of businesses these days work remotely, even in as much as they work on site. So sometimes you might just be that guy who this one is for those that are not really interested so much in coding or you don't want to learn how to program. For those that don't worry, you're not left out. You also have skills that don't require you to really know how to code. to get started. Project management is one of those skills, and it basically has to do with organizing resources to achieve project goals. So let's say a particular company wants to, a software company, for instance, wants to release a new software, and they need persons who will manage the project rather, in terms of getting the requirements to build the software, in terms of collaborating with people who have the technical skills, know the technical part, and bringing people together. So for a skill like project management, this is basically a more senior level roles. The reason is because it has to do with a lot of leadership and collaboration and communication. So it is expected that people who have experience, who have been in the industry for years, are the ones who will fit more in a skill like project management. So if you are interested, of course, in learning project management or getting more understanding about project management and how you can get started, I also just dropped some resources you can check out to get started with project management. Now, what number now? Number 7. I like the way we are going. I want to make sure I end at least 10 minutes into 1 hour so that we can have time for questions and answer. So number 7, the seventh skill we're going to be looking at is what we call business analysis. Now, again, for people who are not so much interested in programming, coding, and the likes, this is basically analyzing processes for business improvement. I once did an internship where this was what I was doing, and it's pretty important because businesses these days, like I explained, are looking for people who know how to improve their processes. So a company like Microsoft, for instance, can be looking for a business analyst. And business analysts are people who know how to look at a particular business process. For instance, how does Microsoft, um, what is a popular Microsoft software? Microsoft Teams, for instance. How does Microsoft Teams, um, what kind of value are people getting from Microsoft Teams? So the business analysts, what they basically do is that they get this information, analyze the information, understand exactly how businesses, the processes involved in certain businesses are, and how it can be improved. That's also, it can also be a digital skill because you don't need to be present physically in the office to have work on this um, project a lot of times. So if you're interested in business analysis, I also just dropped a resource for you to check out in the comment section, in the chat box. For those of us that will be watching the replay after, you can have access to the resources I just dropped by looking at the live replay. You have access to each of these resources. So number 8 is what is called UI UX design. So what does a UI UX designer do? Basically creates intuitive user interfaces and experiences. That is big grammar. Let me just be as simple as possible. So just very quickly look at the interface of YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube, right? Look at the interface of YouTube. YouTube has, you, for instance, you're able to see me on a frame, in a rectangular frame, and you're able to see a chat section where, as I'm talking, you can type on the chat box. Now, before YouTube as a platform was built, somebody sat down to draw these rectangles. Somebody sat down to draw these circles that you are seeing on the application. And the people who sat down to do that are people we call UI UX designers. So these are basically people who design applications and um, websites, but from a user perspective. Like I explained, if you open up a website, you will see icons, you will see rectangles, you will see circles. In fact, all websites are made up of rectangles and circle. I have a friend who is a UI UX designer, and if you ask him what he does, he will say basically he draws the rectangles and circles on websites and applications. Sounds pretty funny, but that's basically what they do. But it's very technical. The reason is because it's not just knowing how to draw shapes. you have to draw those shapes in such a way that as I am now in front in this rectangle, my head should not go outside of the rectangle. So even if I leave this this place I'm seated, I should be able to come back and I will be in front of this rectangle. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you to understand. So UI UX designers basically create design applications and websites for businesses, for individuals and the likes. So what the interface you are able to see when you open up a website are the handwork of the UI UX designers. So somebody might now ask, okay, what's the difference between a UI UX designer and a web developer? The difference is that for a UI UX designer, he doesn't need to know how to code to get the website or application running. What he does is that he creates the template of how the website should look like and then hands it over to the web developer. The web developer now does his programming, coding, and ensures that the website is functioning the way it's supposed to function. That is different between a UI UX designer and a web developer. So a lot of times a web developer collaborates with a UI UX designer. That's where you now start hearing arguments about front end guys and UI UX guys and back end guys, because there's a lot of collaboration that goes into building a website or building an application. So if you're interested in UI UX design, I'll also drop some resources for you to check out. Um, I just dropped it now in the chat box. For those that are just joining, if you just joined, don't worry, you didn't miss so much. The replay will be available immediately we end the session, and you can have access to the replay and get started watching to go from number 1 to number 10. So, if you are still following me, do well to like the video, subscribe if you're ready to subscribe, and share to someone out there. I can see we're about 6 persons, but only 4 persons have liked the video. Just go ahead and like the video. It won't cost you anything. Now, for the last digital skill I'm going to be talking about, which is also helpful if you are not so much interested in coding and programming and all, is what we call Agile and Scrum. I will type it: Agile and Scrum. So for Agile and Scrum, a lot of softwares, a lot of applications use certain concepts in term when they are building the software and application. And Agile and Scrum is one of those methodologies for project or product management in building softwares and applications. So you don't have to necessarily know how to code in order to get started with something like Agile and Scrum. You can easily learn about it online. And why is this important? It enables companies adapt to change and deliver value quickly. For instance, the reason why it seems like some applications tend to fix um errors faster than others. Let's say you have an error in Facebook or an error on WhatsApp sometimes, and it seems like automatically people fix those errors. They get that error fixed as smoothly as possible. It's because of a concept called agile software development. So it enables softwares to be delivered faster and bugs and errors to be fixed faster. So people who have an understanding of this manage tend to manage projects or products that are being developed in terms of website applications and all that. So for those of us that are interested in this particular skill, this is also a resource you can check out: Scrum Alliance CSM course, Coursera's Agile Development Specialization. This is also a resource you can check out if you're interested in Agile and Scrum. So yeah, with that we come to the end of the 10 digital skills. But I just want to quickly also share, while this learning these skills can actually improve you significantly. Let me just rush through it, then we ask our questions. So, like I already explained, in terms of job opportunities and salaries, there is serious demand for these skills, and it leads to better job opportunities. I'm telling you, there are people in this country, if you're in Nigeria, there are people in Nigeria that are earning upwards of $3,000, $4,000 every single month just because they have these skills. If you convert that to naira, that's a minimum of almost that's about 5 million naira every single month. Imagine going on with something like that every month, and you don't need to even visit any office. Just be in the comfort of your bedroom while you're earning that amount of money. So it's pretty exciting. Then if you're watching from somewhere outside Nigeria, it's also the skills are high demand, and the flexibility you have while working is very, very key. Then also relevance in a changing market. Staying relevant in, of course, technology is very rapidly evolving. So it ensures that you are not left behind with the whole process of automation and AI. So learning these skills ensures that you are not left behind. So even if you have a business that you are running and possibly um you don't have these skills, it's important for you to either you have them or you hire people that have the skills, because it will really help you and your business in the long run. Secondly, personal growth. Mastering these skills allows you to solve complex problems. It also allows you to be innovative and contribute to cutting edge projects. So it's very important that you have these skills to your arsenal, because over time, as the world begins to evolve, as more technology are released, it makes you um, be competitive in the global market. Then, lastly, there's also the joy of learning. If you're like me, who loves to learn every single day, I love doing research to figure out new technologies. You have to learn these skills. If you're that kind of person who loves research, who loves to learn, because if you are learning tech skills, don't be deceived. A lot of people might tell you that, just learn these skills because it's paying well. But I'm not that person that will just tell you to learn a skill because it's paying. You have to be sure that you can keep up with the demand, because technology improves every single day. And what will keep you consistent, or what will keep you up to date, is the ability for you to update yourself, learn continuously, and stay up to date with emerging trends. So yeah, that's that for that. If you gained value so far, I need you to let me know in the chat box. And if you want to also come back for the next session, which we hold next week, same time Friday by 6 p.m. GMT plus one. You also have the link to the next session, so I can set your reminders for it. All you need to do is just to come back to this playlist and you see the link to set a reminder for the next session. So guys, I believe we've been gaining a lot from this session, and I'll just give we have like 5 minutes to end the session for questions. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask me, and I will answer your questions. So I believe with this, you should know now the 10 digital skills you need to get started in 2025, so that I will not have so much questions in the comment section of people asking me what skill do I need to learn, what technical skill do I need to learn, oh, do I need to know how to code. I believe this session has covered all this. There are skills you need to know how to code to learn. Well, there are some you don't really need to know how to code in order to get started. So yeah, do well to ask your questions. If you have questions, I'm waiting. Just type your questions in the chat, and I will answer the questions accordingly. So guys, I'm waiting for you to ask your question. Waiting for you to ask your questions. Go ahead and ask your questions. Oh, somebody said well gained. Awesome. If you gain value from the session, please do well to share. You would see a share button. Do well to share the link to friends, to group chats, people who you feel need this knowledge for them to consume this particular content. So I'm waiting for us to ask our questions. If in the next 1 minute we don't have any question, then we'll end the session here, and you will have the replay available for those that were not able to join from the beginning of the session. For those who will be watching the replay after, I need you to ensure you let me know anywhere I ask you to type anything in the chat box. Do well to type, and also do well to subscribe to the channel if you are seeing me for the first time and you want more content like this. Do well to subscribe, like the video, share, so that more persons can gain value from this content. So yeah, I can't see any questions in the chat. So if there are no questions, you should have questions, because possibly you heard about a particular skill that you want to get started learning, and maybe you have a question you want to know: is it worth it? How much do they pay? All those kind of questions. I know. So somebody said, sir, for these skills, I believe that most of them take time in learning, and sometimes you are just exploring them. Yeah. So for a lot of people, like there's literally no digital skill that you will just you will learn, and you will become an expert in a day. If you see any resource or any video or content that tells you learn this digital skill in 1 month and earn $1 million in a month, that's deceptive. I don't like when people do that because it tends to give unrealistic expectations. And if you are someone who is looking towards building long term and really getting value for your learning, you shouldn't be looking at the shortcuts. You should really put in the work, learn the skills very well, build personal projects. And when you've been able to build personal projects, you will be recognized, you will gain value for your skill, and in the end you will be paid very well because you really took your time to learn the fundamentals and learn the skill properly. So don't just be that kind of person who just goes about exploring. If you are really interested in any skill, put in the work. I've given you all the resources. For these resources I just shared with you is based on hours and hours of research. So I'm sure you have basically all you need, and there's a lot of free content. You don't necessarily have to pay for a boot camp. For those who are personally interested in cloud engineering, let me just give you another resource that you can check out. Learn to Cloud. This is a resource that is a free and open source resource that you can really, it's really well, is in depth, and it's totally free actually. You don't really need to pay any money to get started learning. So said once someone said, from what I got, UI UX design seems similar to front end development. Can you learn both of them at the same time, or should you focus on them one by one? So yeah, for UI UX, like I explained, sometimes UI UX designers tend to transition to being front end developers. But our advice, you don't need to learn both of them. They are two separate skills that can make you lots of money if you put in the time to learn them. So if you do your research and you figure out that, oh, you're more interested in design, but front end development has to do with more of coding. UI UX, you don't really need to know how to code to be a UI UX designer. So it's not the same at all. They are two different skills. So for if you're interested in coding, go for front end development. If you're interested in more of design, go for UI UX design and research actually, because it's not just design. So that is something you need to look out for. So yeah, I believe I've been able to answer all the questions and we've been able to gain a lot of value from this session. Again, if you are watching the replay, do also like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys for joining, and see you. Like I said, the replay will be available after now. Once I end the call, the replay would be available. As usual, keep learning, keep growing, and stay rich. Bye for now.